In this video, I used hundreds of packets of noodles to create an epic sculpture. And my God, it was hard, but it ended up looking cool. So stay tuned for the epic result and buckle up, because this is gonna be a wild ride. Or maybe I should say something, a noodly ride. No, that's less cool. Oh, and by the way, this video is sponsored by Audible. G'day everyone, I'm JAZZA, and today I'm going to be seeing if I can sculpt a substantial sculpture using ramen and glue. So here's how it goes in theory. Super glue, baking powder. Ingredients to bind the noodles. I'm gonna break the noodle. Oh, it's broken. If only there were a way to fix this. The idea is that the baking powder acts as like a binding agent. So you use the glue. I mean, the glue is a binding agent. But anyway, you use the glue, super glue, put it in where it's gonna stick together. And I think you stick it first. There you go, okay. And then you get a little bit of this, just floof it on there. All right, I don't trust it to stick, but I also don't remember where the break was. So I'm just gonna put more glue in there and just in general and repowder it. Is it Salt Bay? Who does is that his name? Salt Bay? Is it that? Is that what he does? Nailed it. Am I cool? Oh, it's bound. How strong is the question? It's not coming loose. Well now, see, that just broke elsewhere. Don't worry, I've got a fix for that. Was it this way? No, where was it? Ah! Just mash it in there. And we're done. Oh, Jazzy, you're crazy. You ain't seen nothing yet. You can see why I certainly hoped that the gluing and the sculpting would be possible, because I have procured an obscene amount of ramen noodles. That was perfect comedic timing. Oh, this will be fun. There's a Shin to win. You can win a $5,000 trip to South Korea for 2. I've been throwing these out. I haven't read what. Ah, there's 2. There's 2. I didn't realize I was buying hundreds of lottery tickets. I have hundreds of these. Oh my God. How funny would it be if we win a trip to South Korea? If you were ever wondering what 250 packets of noodles look like, that's it. It doesn't even fit on that camera. So you know when you open a packet of noodles, you take out the noodle, there's always some dregs at the bottom. That's what that is. This is what 250 packets of noodle dregs looks like. Woo! It's actually lunchtime, and there's one thing on the menu. I don't know if that was noodle dust or the flavour, but don't breathe it in. All right, let's settle in and get a bit of an education. Can you really fix things with ramen noodles and super glue? This is King of Random. So they're going for like a refined, smooth finish, because they're breaking the items and they're filling. See, look at that there. They've filled the cracked cup and the cracked plate using the noodles. They're doing the flavoring thing too. So maybe this stuff will come into its own because they need some sort of mixed compound to fill in the gaps. And once it solidifies, he's carving with a chisel. A lot of people have done this. This is South China Morning Post. This is actually the first time I've seen people do this. And I'm sure this is the viral video that most people are aware of. Hey, they're using the same noodles we are. I don't know if it's the same brand, but they've got a disc. So you could do it with a disc, and they're using the seasoning. I'm glad we kept all this. Oh my god, no wonder this went viral. Because you can't help but watch it and think, that's so practical. I have noodles in my house and a broken sink. I've got everything I need to fix it right here. This seems like a really practical use of ramen noodles. Now, out of all the videos I've found, there is one where the person who made the video does a sculpture. This is BM Sculptures. They have 15,000 subscribers, so shout out and well done for doing this before I have. But what does he do? He's made like a solid brick. Oh, he's using a rubber resin and he's mixing it in with the noodles, which is cool, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stick to the basics. I'm gonna see if with this and the other random crap I have, I'm gonna see if I can make a sculpture. This is gonna be quite time consuming. And not only that, it's way more expensive than I thought it would be. This is over $500 worth of super glue, which is why I am really glad that this video is sponsored by Audible. Audible is the best place for you to listen to an unrivaled selection of audiobooks today. And audiobooks are amazing because they really fit to your lifestyle. So whether you're making an artwork or if you're at the gym or on a lunch break, Audible is an amazing way to enjoy your favorite titles but still multitask at the same time.
He assumed that if VR hardware progressed in the same trajectory as...
I challenge you to a legal...
If what he says is true, then he's done really good by me.
I personally have amassed a rather large collection of audiobook titles. Those of you looking for a recommendation, the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks is amazing, and that's what I'm listening to book 5 of. Beyond the thousands and thousands of audiobook titles, they have theatre performances and podcasts. They have Audible originals, which you can't get anywhere else. If you go to audible.com/Jazza, or if you're in the US, text Jazza to 500, you can get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals. Huge thank you, of course, to Audible for sponsoring this video and letting me purchase this obscene amount of noodles. Bet they didn't see that coming. So I'm gonna get started with my sculpture, but make sure not to go anywhere and stay tuned to the end of the video to find out if I win a trip for 2 to South Korea. This is gonna get messy. It's gonna take a long time, and I still have no idea what I'm gonna make, but it's gonna be a tasty process. Very quickly into the process of sticking the discs together, I realized how quickly the super glue was being used up. I mean, it was great to work with in that it dried up really quickly, especially when the powder was applied, but I knew with this many noodles, I was going to have to adapt. So, in entered a new player to the noodle and glue game, specifically polyvinyl acetate glue, better known as PVA glue, baby! PVA glue, also known as wood glue or carpenter's glue. This stuff dried slower, but I could use a lot of it, and it filled the gaps of the noodles in places as well. So I did use a lot of it and slowly built a giant diorama out of the noodles, 1 layer at a time, until the foundation had been laid and I could leave it overnight to dry.
The next day.
All right, we are on day 2. As I mentioned, I started off with just the super glue powder setup. It definitely feels more solid. This is going to be the foundation of my sculpture. It doesn't look like much right now, but it's going to look like a lot more once I start carving it. Let's try and carve some. You ready? I want to carve a cylindrical indentation in there so I can inset that. This is sort of satisfying. It's not dry at the bottom. Funnily enough, like not the stupidest art medium I've ever worked with. Noodle sculpture, it's a thing. Oh. All right, that's pretty good. The other thing is you'll notice there are lots of gaps, and that's where this stuff comes in. Basically, my plan is to create a bit of a mix of this with a little bit of the powdery stuff and more of the PVA. And I'll create a bit of a slush that I'll be able to pack in and fill gaps with.
And so our hero set off to work, embarking on an epic quest unlike anything any artist had ever been on, to make something epic out of noodles and glue. I mean, let's be honest, it's not very surprising no artist has done it this dramatically before. It's a pretty stupid quest to go on, but hey, he's a pretty stupid hero, and he's our hero. And he's also really good at making cool stuff out of really stupid stuff.
By the way, I invented what I proudly started to call my magic mix, a noodle compound made up of crushed and zhunged noodles mixed with a huge amount of PVA glue and a little bit of water and a little bit of the powder. Mixed all up together, it dried pretty quick, a lot faster than if I had just used the glue, but also created a reasonably smooth surface given that it's made out of noodles, and ended up creating a cool texture that really came into its own later when I painted the piece, but we'll get to that later.
The next day.
So I was in the studio till after midnight last night, finishing the surface of my piece so far. As you can see, we've got a bit of a temple theme going on, a bit of an ancient ruin. So it'll come together today, but I spent a lot of time getting the surface done because I need that to be dry enough to paint later today after I add some details. And I also have one very important final piece to finish off the details of and do the surface of, which will turn this into a dragon temple. I gotta say, we've effectively used the noodles, because when you make this compound mix, that like this turns into like, just pretend I crushed it, turns into like that. That's like 5 of these, is that. Now there is a lot to finish, so I'm hoping to be done by the end of today, but knowing me and this project, right, it's unlikely. However, I think now is a good chance to take a little bit of a break, have an interlude, and see if we win a trip for 2 to South Korea. This is a terrible scratching system. Wait, but if you scratch too hard, then it ruins it. I mean, it's the most effective method so far. They all say enter your unique code, and it gives you website. That's useless. Too much work. I'm not gonna enter 20-digit code like this many times. Are you kidding me? I'm sad now. I think the only thing that could cheer me up is an epic montage. So this is it, people, the final hours. After working with noodles and glue for days and nights, it's smelly, sticky, and inconvenient. But hey, they're all my middle names. Now, let me disclaim, by the way, I know that I do dragon things too much, but in my defense, dragons are cool. And that should be the only legit reason I need to give. Now, I'll point out also, by the way, that the dragon head put a lot of weight onto that main pillar. At that point, I decided to put a little wooden stick under the dragon's chin, but that little wooden stick under the chin was perfect because it sort of acted as a visual for the flow of the lava, which I added elsewhere in the piece, and then I could paint over later. Anyway, it was time to refine and finalize the diorama by carving in details and adding texture throughout. Fortunately, the surface mix I made actually carved quite nicely, and it was sort of fun to work with when it was dry, almost like a carving block of rubber or something. This is where the sculpture is really about to transform. Now is where you'll see me paint it, and you'll see that all of this insanity was always leading to a place of wonder and magic. I started this video with a simple quest, to see if I could turn ramen noodles, along with the help of glue and paint, into an epic sculpture. Welcome to the Dragon Temple. So I have to say, out of every video I've done where I've attempted to make something substantial out of something seemingly stupid, this is probably my favorite outcome. Like, this is noodles. Noodles, super glue, PVA glue, and paint. Oh, and don't forget, I used the flavoring in my concrete composite mix and the vegetable, the dry stuff as like grass. I think it's come together pretty well. Now, speaking of that mixture that I used to create the texture and the surface around the sculpture, that is pretty much entirely PVA glue and crushed noodles and a little bit of the powder and bicarb soda. And the result is like, it's weirdly springy. Like, it feels like the ground of kids' playgrounds. You know, it sort of feels like gravelly, but it feels like rubber. Feels like that. So if you saw the reveal of this obscene artwork and thought, wow, didn't know you could do that, or that's sort of cool, well then you should subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, silly. Because I worked really hard on this and no one's done this before. Sincerely, I hope you have all thoroughly enjoyed this video. I love the result. I hope you do too. And if you do, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're subscribing, of course, ring that bell so you can get a notification whenever I upload a video so you don't miss out on random crap like this. There are more videos you might enjoy over there, so go check them out. Otherwise, that is it for now. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.